Rare and weird phobias. While most people have heard of common phobias, like the fear of heights, acrophobia, or the fear of spiders, arachnophobia, there are many strange and less talked phobias. Here is a list of 21 weird and rare phobias you may have never heard of. Number 1. Arachibutyrophobia. Arachibutyrophobia, the fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of the mouth, is a rare but real phobia. Some can eat it in small amounts, while others avoid it altogether due to traumatic experiences or a fear of choking. It may also stem from a traumatic incident with peanut butter, such as choking on or being allergic to it. Number 2. Nomophobia. Nomophobia is the fear of being without your mobile phone. It's when they get really anxious if they don't have their phone or if it's not working. This fear usually comes from being too attached to their phone. They might always check it and worry about missing calls or messages. A study found that about half of both men and women have this anxiety. And for some students, it's even higher. Almost 77% of them check it more than 35 times a day. Number 3. Arithmophobia. Arithmophobia is the fear of numbers. Some folks fear math class, but those with arithmophobia truly dread numbers. It's not just about seeing symbols, they feel anxious about dealing with numbers altogether. This fear, also known as numerophobia, can make daily tasks challenging and impact one's life significantly. Number 4. Plutophobia. Many people probably wish they had more money, but plutophobia is a fear of money or wealth. People with this fear really don't like dealing with money. Some even mess up their jobs so they won't get rich. They're scared of all the stuff that comes with being wealthy, like lots of responsibilities or even being robbed. Number 5. Xanthophobia. Xanthophobia is a fear of the color yellow. People with this fear are also scared of yellow objects like school buses and flowers. They avoid anything yellow, even yellow foods, which makes daily life hard because yellow things are everywhere. Number 6. Ablutophobia. Ablutophobia is a fear of bathing, washing, or cleaning oneself. It's most common in kids, but can continue into adulthood. People with this fear avoid bathing, leading to body odor and isolation. It's often triggered by a bad experience with water or a fear of getting wet. Sometimes, it's linked to aquaphobia, the fear of water. Number 7. Octophobia. Octophobia is the fear of the number 8. People with octophobia fear the number 8 when it's written down, like in addresses or ads. They might also fear things in groups of 8. This fear could be because 8 looks like the infinity sign or from a bad experience on the 8th of a month. Number 8. Optophobia. Optophobia is a fear of opening your eyes. It can make daily tasks challenging and may lead to a preference for dimly lit places or staying indoors. This fear often links to generalized anxiety disorder and may stem from a past traumatic experience. Number 9. Globophobia. Globophobia is a fear of balloons. It varies in intensity from person to person, from avoiding balloons to skipping places with them entirely. This fear often starts from a bad experience with a balloon, like popping one as a kid and being frightened by the noise. It's tough for children since balloons are common at parties. Number 10. Hippopotomonstrosesquippedaliophobia. Hippopotomonstrosesquippedaliophobia is the fear of long words. Ironically, it's the longest word in the dictionary. Another name for it is sesquipedalophobia. This fear often comes from being embarrassed about saying long words wrong, especially when reading aloud in front of others, like in class. Number 11. Ephobophobia. Ephobophobia is the fear of teenagers. People with this fear might see teens as rude, unpredictable, and rule breakers. They might avoid being around teenagers or going to places where teens gather. This fear often comes from how teenagers are shown negatively in the media. Number 12. Omphalophobia. Omphalophobia is the fear of belly buttons. People with omphalophobia avoid seeing or touching belly buttons, even their own. They might use a bandage to cover their belly button and avoid places like the beach, where belly buttons might be exposed. Number 13. Linonophobia. Linonophobia is a fear of string. Someone with this fear gets really scared just thinking about or seeing string. They'll avoid anything to do with string, like sewing or tying shoes. This fear often comes from a bad experience with string, like being tied up as punishment. It can also develop simply from watching these events on television. Number 14. Paganophobia. Paganophobia is the fear of beards. It often comes from a scary experience with a bearded person or just not liking how a beard covers the face. People with paganophobia avoid those with beards and feel anxious around them. They might even get nervous looking at a picture of a bearded person and find it hard to be friends with someone who has a beard. Number 15. Chetophobia. Chetophobia is the fear of hair, whether it's one's own, someone else's, or even animal hair. People with this phobia may avoid situations involving hair, such as combing their own hair or allowing others to touch it, and they may find getting haircuts extremely challenging. This fear can be triggered by traumatic experiences like bad haircuts or significant hair loss, and it may also stem from a belief that hair is unclean. Number 16. Vestophobia. Vestophobia is the fear of clothing. Some are scared of certain garments, others of tight clothes, while some fear all clothing. It can stem from fabric allergies or traumatic events, like soldiers fearing military clothing. Number 17. Ergophobia. Ergophobia is a fear of work. People with ergophobia feel extreme anxiety about their job or workplace. Some are afraid of doing physical work, while others fear finding a job at all. This fear can cause anxiety attacks and make it hard to work. It's often linked to feeling burned out or having bad experiences at work. Ergophobia can also be tied to other fears like speaking in public or criticism. Number 18. Decidophobia. Decidophobia is the fear of making decisions. People with this fear find it hard to trust their own opinions and often seek help from others to make choices. Some might even turn to things like astrology for guidance. Decidophobia could be linked to a broader mental health issue known as dependent personality disorder, where relying on others to make decisions is a common trait. Number 19. Isopterophobia. Isopterophobia is the fear of mirrors. People with this fear can't look at themselves in a mirror or any reflective surface. It's also called spectrophobia or catopterophobia. Some fear mirrors because they think it brings bad luck or they might see something spooky, like a ghost. This fear can come from feeling bad about how they look, leading to sadness or needing help from a counselor or medication. Number 20. Deipnophobia. Deipnophobia is the fear of dining with others. It can make people scared of dinner parties or even just talking while eating. Sometimes it comes from bad experiences in the past, like being teased as a kid for how they ate. People with deipnophobia might feel uncomfortable eating in front of others and might choose to eat alone or quietly if they do eat with others. Number 21. Phobophobia. Phobophobia is the fear of having fears. It's like being stuck in a cycle of anxiety, afraid of feeling afraid. People with phobophobia often avoid things that might make them anxious, like social events. It can really mess up their daily life, especially when it's mixed with other fears and anxiety disorders. Comment and let us know which phobia you find most unusual and whether you've encountered individuals who experience such phobias.